Hey everybody, welcome back. I got some more comics for my spinner rack. I didn't plan that corny rhyme, but it worked. It's almost New Year's. It's I don't know, what 12 hours away, maybe a little more. Well, I'll get right to it. These books I got fresh off the rack, and like when they came out. Generally, I'm focusing on the 70s, the Bronze Age, and the early 80s is also the Bronze Age, from what I understand. Most people say it's until 1985 or some such. Whoever keeps track of such things, but let's get right to it. After Frank Miller left Daredevil, it was really lost in the woods for about a year, and then Danny O'Neill, he was with this new guy in town, David Mazzucchelli. Really started to get a feel for the book, and it got better and better. And there was this story with this jungle savage guy who looked kind of like, I'm trying to think of who he was. He looked like a biker dude. He had long hair, and he had this leopard print on shirt, not probably actual leopard. And it was pretty interesting because at first I thought, he would be no contest with Daredevil, but they explained why he was so formidable. He was like Kraven the Hunter. That's what reminded me of Kraven the Hunter. Anyway, Denny O'Neill and Mazzucchelli made it believable. So this issue, I just love it. It's a done in one, which we love. As you can see here, in my opinion, I think Mazzucchelli was taking a picture from taking a point from Gene Colan. You just sort of see a lot of shadows there, but I would recognize there's no swipes whatsoever. He just absorbed it. Here's this beautiful. This looks great in a trade paperback, and I have one that reprinted the area that bridged Miller's first ending of his first run and the beginning of the second with David Mazzucchelli. This is all done with duotone, where you apply a brush. It's a chemical type of artboard, and you apply this liquid that's invisible until you put it on this board. That's just amazing. I love the layout. I love that. And Mazzucchelli was growing in leaps and bounds, and the limited color palette is just sensational. That is just incredible. So much going on there. It's so bold. And it's a two-gun kid, and it's basically a story that traverses a century, where two-gun kid, who by day is Matt Hawk, another lawyer named Matt, much like our title character here, Matt Murdock. It's just amazing stuff. That is incredible. I could deal with just like a poster of that. That's how great it was. I'm not even a huge, Marvel Western character. And Daredevil wakes up. He was dreaming of it somehow. There's a couple times in here where, in this era, that face there. It's got a touch Neil Adams to it, but again, I think Mazzucchelli was just soaking everything up like a sponge. But yeah, there were a couple issues where O'Neill kind of indulged, but in a good way, some spiritual aspects, that things you just can't explain, and not necessarily ancient aliens, but that's so good. I'm not going to spoil it for you though. Done in one, beautiful, recommend it. And I got lucky that one printed really well. Machine Man. I didn't like Kirby's second run, but I was a kid. I was always into what was in at the moment, which, after the fact, looks very, very dated. So that's the great thing about Kirby's. Get like a moire pattern here from the Zipatone. Bob Layton actually inked this. Let's see. I think so. In fact, I know so. There we go. As soon as I focus. Screw it. It is Kirby Layton. All right, take my word for it. Love the cover though. Although it must have been. It's fun. It's just a little stiff, little white Zipatone that create that distance. I love that stuff. And it's funny. It's I mean, whenever you took over Cap and Black Panther, it was so bizarre. But looking back, it's tremendous fun. But I really took a shine, so to speak, to our metal man here, Machine Man, because Kirby really found this really interesting, droll voice that he gave Machine Man as an outsider. There's all these cool gimmicks. And like stuff like this actually kind of looks almost like Silver Age stuff, the way he's breaking it down into... I don't know how to explain it. It's more straight story rather than huge, oversweeping, arcs with gods and stuff like that. Staggered is the word. I feel like some athlete's favorite razor blade. I don't know why, but I love that line. And here these guys are shooting. God, this is badass. Things. Oh, I'll just stand and shoot. I'll make these other guys look like wusses. Oh, what's also interesting, he gave this guy, I think his name was General Crag or something, who he wanted to destroy Machine Man, and he had a character arc. It was very gradual, where he liked the Machine Man. He understood, he got over his, he realized he was misguided, and so he. His baseball game. What's they say? Troops. While Crag palavers with the Federal Commission, will wait out here. His troopers play as well as fight. I heard someone yell, "Batter up!" And they all say, "Hey, I want to try Machine Man." It's like he might belt the apple at the next county. I might decide to bunt, And that's just a great, simple line. I really think Kirby really was having fun with this character. It's a shame it was the last issue. But I think that's when his contract was up. And he kind of cheats there. But that's okay. They're all having a good time. Okay, I'm not going to spoil it for you. I know it sounds silly. 45 years later. Oofa. Now this one, I was a Marvel guy. I've said this a billion times. Wasn't it the DC, but I would pick up the occasional one. And JLA was always sort of a safe bet. Man, one thing I'll tell you is I hate this cover. Buckler usually knocks out of the ballpark like 99 and 99%. But that tangent with that fist and Superman's pose is so ungainly. It's so awkward. It looks like it's a foreshadow of this fist. I know that seems ridiculous size-wise, but since Neil Adams came on the scene of comic scene about a decade prior, he would do some extreme foreshortening, just as much as Kirby, if not more. So that blue and that blue there just looks like he's got a swollen fist or some bad attempt of foreshortening. Got the reliable Dick Dillon, who drew the book for years and years and years, and it's a team book. That's hard to do. I mean, George Perez took over afterward, but he was the perfect follow-up because George thrived on team books and how they figures interacted in a scene. I love that scene where they're climbing up the hill, but then they get sucker punched. It's a great pose for Green Lantern there. It's the Manhunters who. They were Kirby creations that, actually there was only one issue of Manhunter, I think it was in first issue special, and it tied into, I think, the original Manhunter somehow. What happens is, you learn that there is a whole bunch of them. Kind of like the Green Lantern Corps, there are a whole bunch of these guys, Manhunters. And it's too much to explain at the moment, but, I wonder if this is white zip also. I think it is. I don't know. It might have just been white out, slashes with a pen. A little Superman and I have been friends for a long, long time. The world's finest. We're a team. So that's like a little wink to the audience. We're also in the book World's Finest since, Second World War. This came out in April of 1977. It tells her boring origin. Now here's a funny thing. In team books, I'll just say, like in Avengers, when Shooter was writing the Avengers, there was friction between Captain America and Iron Man because Iron Man wasn't around sometimes, even though he was the chairman, and Cap was like, don't treat this like a part-time job. Well, when you do team books with characters that have their own books, you have to sort of make a subplot between the individual characters. Like Wonder Woman's not in every issue of The Flash. So he's passed out. She. Oh, I forgot to get to this. Hold on a second. I jumped ahead. This salient point. Not so salient, but okay. Here we go. Flash has he's feeling annoyed by Princess Diana. He's like, yeah, that's right. Nice piece of flying, Wonder Woman, but why not go all the way to Earth? It's faster and more accurate than teleport down from the satellite. Landing a rocket in the atmosphere is tricky, Flash, as I know only too well. She did it again. I ask a simple question. She makes me feel like a jerk. Why don't we just call... No. Good thing she didn't hear me. So he gets real self-conscious. I've been as tongue-tied around a woman since my first date with Iris. So it's just a personal thing. Usually that kind of drama is saved for like hot-headed archers like Green Arrow and Hawkeye. But, well, he comes to... And there's one creature here. Kind of odd-looking, but Dick Dillon does a great job of it. And Frank McLaughlin is inking. I love his inks. So she gets knocked down, and here's where he goes. Unsteady or not, I'm still the fastest man alive, and I've got something to prove to a certain Amazon princess. See, now that's foreshortening there that I kind of thought was like in the cover. That's just a horrible tangent. Or at least change the color of something. It's like maybe... No, it's pretty much the same color. So... Alright. And the man called Nova. Boy, oh boy. When this first came out, he was like... It was such a... What is it? A boyhood... fantasy type story. It was kind of like, what do they call those things? Well, I gotta drink of water. Not important, but it's wish fulfillment, I guess, for if you're a kid, and I was a kid at the time. Beautiful cover. I don't know who did it, but it's really cool. For all I know, it might have been Buckler also. He did the first issue of Nova's cover, and he used the term Valadar, and I was like, who the hell is Valadar? That was his pen name, because I guess he was exclusive to DC at the time, which is very unusual. So, and I love the pose. That page just feels, it just gets you really going. But I had such high hopes for this book, and I like the plots, but Marv Wolfman sometimes his stuff can be too cutesy or too routine. Like he was writing several books, and except for Tomb of Dracula, which was an exceptional book, they all it was sort of samey, and just not as, I don't know. It's like a lot of people almost had the same voice. They had the same, like the thugs who shoot the guns. They have the same voice. All the bad guys do, and I understand. Everybody does melodramatic stuff for supervillains and stuff, but for Nova's secret identity, what's his name? Rich Rider. Not to be confused with Ronald Raymond, who was Firestorm's character. But I mean, the problem is, he once in a while will think about his own securities, but then his inner monologue is just like every other superhero, and I just don't know why I couldn't. It didn't grab me. I bought every issue, but the last two issues I stopped because it was really being you could tell, just crapped out to get done. and that's when Infantino came along, and I wasn't keen on his stuff. And he had done some stuff I really liked. He did some Ms. Marvels I liked and other stuff, but for Nova, it just seemed really didn't work for me. Frank Giacoya on the inks. I like Giacoya, but I think in this time it was a little too, I don't know what it was. It wasn't nuanced enough. But I still dig Giacoya. But anyway, in this book, he does get a character arc where he knows he's now a man because he faces up to the Sphinx in issue, 12, 13, something. But it's just that so many 70s cliches, so many. And it also was dissatisfying where he was powerful, but it was like you took Spider-Man, written by scripted by Stan Lee and plotted by Ditko, and then you amped up insecurities, and it was like the same old. Like I said, a lot of these guys were their own editors too, so they just kind of like, well, here's the idea, like blah 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 blah. But when it comes to dialogue, I get that out in 2 minutes. So now, Iron Man 100, Jim Starlin cover. I can't find the signature, but there's just no denying it. What's interesting though is looking at it now, it looks like an action figure. The way the limbs, how orderly it is, but that's pretty cool. However, my favorite character, Iron Man, the 100th issue is very, very underwhelming. Because, okay, here, I'm going to build up to this. Bill Manilow, I've always loved his stuff. The ROM Space Knight Omnibus is coming up soon. I'll be doing an unboxing video of it when I get it. It seemed like Bill wanted to just relive old plots, and he'd reuse stuff, in Iron Man anyway. Maybe he just went for the big nostalgia thing, because he had an issue of the Melter where Iron Man gets all his armor melted, and then all of a sudden the original Iron Man in the gold armor shows up, and that was exactly done in a late issue of Tales of Suspense by Gene Colan. And then, after that, they brought back Ultimo and Sunfire and the Guardsman. It was just pretty much like Bill said, well, I'm going to make this a big nostalgia trip. And that was cool and all, but for 100th issue, sometimes you feel like you're going to go somewhere and it's going to be really great. But this has a lot of cliches from an early Tales of Suspense where Iron Man fought the Mandarin. And I just remember reading, I was like, 100th issue, George Tuska, Bill Manilow, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, I just had this very, okay. Mike Esposito on the inks and stuff. I like those lines. That's really tricky. It turned out really well. So he's going after Mandarin, as he started to at the end of the previous issue. And Tusk had been on the book a long time, and I always loved Tusk, but sometimes I got punch drunk after a while, and apparently he was just kind of doing that a lot to kind of fill the pages. And they were great pages. I'd love to own a page, but in fact, I have a commission piece where I met him in San Diego in 1998, and he did this beautiful Iron Man, but he was wearing the first version of the helmet that Steve Ditko created in 64, 65. I like that a lot. I love that cape, and the Mandarin has a different costume than the original one. Although this isn't that much of an improvement, but it is. So he's like multiple images, which was from that, I think it was Tales of Suspense 55. And a good old fist will do sometimes, little martial arts. And I love the swirly stuff. Tusk would throw that in a lot, and it really was neat. And I got my cool glasses on, my hipster glasses. And it's like, I had enough. And he gets frozen. And so it's like, while you're frozen, here's my story. Oh, come on, you. There. He talks about that here. And then here it's like, my heat induction knob. It's freed me from his ice blast before. Tales of Suspense 86 Archie. Again, it's like, yeah, you didn't have to tell me because I read those issues. However, if you were a new reader, I get it. It would be all new to you. But I started Iron Man around like issue 72, so we're going like 30 issues deep into this. Dog, you will pay for this. There will be several changes in Mandarin's costume, but over the years, and I don't think I've liked any of them really. But yeah, and he falls into that happened also with in Tales of Suspense. Flies up, the multiple images again, which is also a trick that Iron Man uses sometimes. But I just really felt it's been done before. Now here's the thing: a lot of times, like Tuska was good with fights, and he was a good storyteller, but sometimes he wasn't 100% clear on what the story would require. So somebody, the editor or whoever, decided to have another hand in this, so to speak. The first panel, Mandarin, everything else, the wrist and the fingers are not George Tuska. And the second panel, that is not George Tuska. And somebody trying to do a Kirby image, and I don't know if it was Marie Severin or whoever, but yeah, I was like, wow. And even as a kid, I could tell. It just had a whole different vibe to it. And so meanwhile, we find this guy who's trying to sell out Stark to the government. And the case is sabotage. Choke. Real quick. Ross Andrew. That just knocks me out there, that pose. So great. And it is Madam Web. Is that the name of the new series they're doing? I can't remember, based on the older lady. But anyway, this guy got busted somehow. But Mandarin destroys him as he's taken away by police. You filthy assassin, you'll never kill again. Curse you. Our control panel, you're destroying everything. I'm going to show you the end of this because it's not really quite as not much of a payoff. So he just blows some shit off. Remember that, Mandarin. There was a time Iron Man could have killed you and didn't. And that he refrained out of strength, not weakness. Amidst the rubble, Mandarin ponders, ... the end. And, I just had this same empty, like, what is it? Empty calories is what I like to say. It just feels like a lot of empty calories. And it just sort of ended. And I know this will give me a lot of shit, but the first Batman 89, I felt the same way. The ending just sort of happened, and I was like, yeah, I guess it's cool, So while both that movie and this issue had cool moments, I found them both to be very flawed. So you can send your hate mail to... I'm on Twitter as yes, that Drew Geraci, or X, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm on Facebook, and I'm going to try and get on some of the other sites. Just I got so much going on, So that's all. And I hope you have a very, very happy New Year.